winning a national championship is what I came to Oregon State for, and I've been short with the guys the last 2 years, so just really trying to find ways to build a strong, healthy foundation physically and mentally with this team, and go out and do it in the spring.
Welcome to episode 245 of Alberta Dugout Stories, the podcast. I'm Joe McFarland. It's championship time around the baseball world as the playoffs are either just getting underway or are wrapping up. So here are a few of the highlights from another busy week. Congratulations to Sherwood Park's Scott Gillespie and the Welland Jackfish on winning the Intercounty Baseball League Championship.
Full count, 2 out. Everybody nervously watching. Everybody anxiously watching. Here it is. That's strike 3, and for the first time, the Jackfish have brought a championship to the city of Welland. 17-1, the final score tonight.
The former Prairie Baseball Academy and Edmonton Prospects hurler was joined on the roster by former WCBL star McCoy Pierce, and a bit of a spoiler alert as Gillespie will be a guest on next week's episode of the podcast. Big congratulations as well to Lethbridge's Tanner Jessen Dalton and the Quebec Capitale on winning the Frontier League Championship.
0-2 again. Outside. Strike 3. Deja vu for the Quebec Capitales. Back-to-back Frontier League champions.
That roster also includes a handful of players familiar to our province, including former Sylvan Lake Gulls all-star Jonah Weisner, Dawgs Academy grad and Atlanta Braves draft pick Ben Thompson, and Vauxhall Academy grad Martin Vincelli-Simard. Speaking of Vauxhall, Adam Macko can also call himself a professional baseball champion.
79 win, looking for number 80 to win it all. 3-2. Lined to short and caught. The Canadians drape the Northwest League flag across their shoulders for 2023. 10-2 your final. The bullpen cart will deliver the bullpen arms as the Seas dogpiled by first base. 135 games, 80 wins, an 80-grade season for manager Brent LaValle and the Vancouver Canadians, champions of the Northwest League.
The Stony Plain product picked up the win for the Vancouver Canadians in Game 1 of the Northwest League Final against Everett. The Aqua Sox did win Game 2 before the Canadians won Games 3 and 4. Macko finished the season going 5-5 with a 4.81 ERA in 20 appearances. Dawgs Academy grad and former Okotoks Dogs slugger Dane Toffland is also a champion as his Ogden Raptors swept the Billings Mustangs in the best-of-3 Pioneer League Final.
Eddie leaves the 3-2. Fastball swing and a miss up and in for strike 3, and the Raptors have done it for the first time since 2017. They're dogpiling as they take home their second Pioneer Baseball League championship.
The Grand Prairie native hit .248 with 9 home runs and 26 RBI in 47 games with the Raptors, whose head coach is former Medicine Hat Blue Jays All-Star Cash Beecham. And finally, congratulations to the Calgary Diamondbacks on winning their 4th straight Foothills Major Baseball Association title, knocking off the Calgary Dukes 8-6 in the third and deciding game of their championship series on Sunday. Joe Sargent went 6 innings, allowing 6 runs on 9 hits while striking out 8, while Alex Bishop and Brent Cooper drove in 2 each to lead the charge offensively. One more big note for you, and that is the Canadian Future Showcase being put on by the Blue Jays Academy. It started in Toronto on Tuesday and runs through Saturday, featuring 20 Alberta athletes as well as several others who train here. We've had a few conversations previewing the event in recent weeks. We have a few stories already up on our website and a few others still to come, and then we'll break it all down for you again on next week's episode of the pod. This week, we head down to Okotoks, where Dawgs Academy took its relationship with NCAA Division I powerhouse Oregon State to a new level. The two programs have always had a strong connection, but this year, the Beavers decided to hold a multi-day camp at Siemens Stadium, complete with inter-squad games and a Saturday evening tilt under the lights against the host academy. Our Ian Wilson has spent a few days down there gathering interviews and taking in the festivities, and we'll start off his coverage with Beavers head coach Mitch Canham.
Mitch, welcome to Alberta Dugout Stories, the podcast. Tell us about Alberta and your trip here and how it's been so far.
We've all been thrilled. Just the different environment from being on the college campus, getting away, spending a lot of time with each other. Whether it's working out in the morning in the weight room, going for walks or jogs early in the morning too. So, just little things like setting the alarm clock in the hotel room, something that no one's done because we've relied on our phones, but what we've done since we've been up here is really put our phones away, collect them, get them out of sight, out of mind, so that we're not sitting there looking at social media or just wandering aimlessly through, the Safari or Google Chrome or whatever. So just giving guys a big opportunity to connect, talk about who they are and what their goals are for the short term and the long term. Whenever you have new guys, every year you're going to have new guys come into the program, and we talk a lot about family and this being a strong brotherhood and earning each other's trust. And so we're giving everyone an opportunity to do that. And the sooner we can do those kind of things, the sooner we can have those truthful conversations that lead to real development. And getting up here, having phenomenal facilities, there's 3 fields, indoor, a lot of cage space that we can divide up and have the pitchers get extra attention with Coach Dorman, have the hitters get extra attention with Coach Gibson, and our defenders an extra time with Coach Wong. So it's been, throughout, the point where we're at right now, I'd say we've accomplished what we wanted to do up here thus far. And nice thing is we still got 3.5 more days of being up here, waking up early and putting in a lot of work. So guys are really enjoying it. I've heard a lot of great feedback. I haven't had a ton of chance to get away from the field and experience a little bit more of Alberta, but running up to Calgary was fun, and having a great meal up there and seeing the city, and guys are already just enjoying a little bit of this space, and having Micah McDowell up here too, who trained here, kind of giving us the lay of the land and different spots that we can check out. But I mean, really the community has been very welcoming, a lot of kind people, and tons of smiles. So we've enjoyed this experience.
Coach Pat Casey had played AAA in Calgary, and I believe his first son was born in Calgary as well. So I'm just wondering if you had any chats with him about the city or the region.
Well, the Corvallis is also a smaller community population-wise, and the night before we came up here, took my wife and kiddos out to dinner and ran into Coach Casey and Susan, and he said, "Hey, and we're heading up there tomorrow. Oh, you guys are going to love it." And we went, and he shared stories with us about when he played in Calgary, and some ideas on where to go. And also, we knew this from before, that John was born up here. John's always around, and he reminds us that he was born up here. So it was just fun, and it seems like a tighter knit community here in the Okotoks, and Corvallis being like that too. Not a ton of distractions, work, be a part of a community, build relationships. So it was funny, like the night before, running into Case and talking about this.
Tell me about just the goals for this camp specifically. You touched on it a bit, but I assume bonding is part of it, getting to know the guys. There's a technical aspect to it as well.
No doubt. First and foremost, the relationships that they're building with each other and getting to experience a different area than most all of them have ever been. But the small things, getting the fundamentals down. We're doing stuff in the mornings and we're doing stuff in the afternoons. Nothing too heavy. We're not trying to necessarily physically push them beyond their means, but it's more so breaking it down, rest and recover. Right now, guys are grabbing lunch and probably going to go do some mindful exercises, close their eyes for a minute, lay out in the grass, enjoy the cool breeze, and then pick it up again. So all of our work should be filled with strong intent, as opposed to trying to get everything done in 3 hours. Well, we can do a 2-hour session, and then we pause, and then we do another 2-hour session. And then it also allows for stuff in the evenings for us to do, just open meetings with some of the guys, grabbing them, bringing them in and sitting down talking about what their expectations are in the classroom as it starts next week, how they're going to be successful in there, what does their routine look like with their study habits, talk about character, what are the things that they're good at, where do they want to develop. And really with this kind of time and not having all the other distractions that may be going on back in town, we can learn these guys and understand how they communicate and help put together that kind of like 30-day plan to enact it, and then we meet again in another month. So this is really like setting the foundation, I guess. Any big structure is going to have a really big foundation, and if our goals are big and audacious and just like ready to conquer the world, we need to make sure the foundation is ready to roll right now.
I really wanted to ask you about coaching the modern athlete, because we hear a lot of, for lack of a better word, the old school coaches and mentality, like, oh, kids today are soft, or they're, just what I would call misnomers. But you can enlighten me on what you've seen, because when you were playing and coaching pro, I assume the landscape has shifted somewhat.
I've always part of coaching in the Mariners organization that I enjoyed was the off season and going home and training, high school age student athletes. It's getting a wide range. If you stick and train just one specific group, you don't really understand the next group coming in, and you want to have an idea of how they communicate. I mean, just some of the terms that they start to use, or some of the teaches that are being used throughout their development. It's always going to change, so we can sit around and argue about it. It's not like it used to be, or start understanding what they're doing. Take the good stuff from when we were developing as young student athletes as well, and know how to communicate it, because there's I guess the teaching process. You have to have knowledge of the subject, which it's all out there. You can jump on the computer and all different outlets and start learning, get out there and work and discuss. So the knowledge, you have to have that, but then you got to be able to communicate. And so you have all the wisdom in the world, but if you don't know how to communicate it to each and every guy on the team, because they all speak a little bit different language, this year and next year it'll change as well, then we're not going to really be able to develop. And then comes the accountability piece. How do you hold this group accountable? And then individually, how do you hold each one accountable? So always adjusting in those three things. You're always trying to learn, you're always trying to communicate, and you're always trying to hold guys accountable to what our standards are and how to play the game the right way and how to live as young men and develop into grown men. So not saying like, well, it was harder back in the day than it is now. Yeah, there's more resources right now. There's more information on nutrition and rest and hydration and breath work and really the swing mechanics and breaking things down and tools that we can use with edgertronics. So I guess you don't have to necessarily go out and work on the field every day, because a lot of fields are turf, especially in the north. So when you say, hey, we're going to go tamp the mound, what does that mean? I've never done that before. Oh, geez, these kids these days. No, it's just they play on turf. So now instead of spending, 15, 20 minutes putting the field together and prepping it for the next day or whatever, you can use that time to do other things. And it's just there's adjustments that can be made, but I don't think that we need to say one group is softer than another. It's just different. And I think sometimes if we get stuck in how things were and not have some understanding of what it is now and how they need to act, we're losing it, and we're going to lose our guys, and we're not going to get the full potential of our development. So like right now, like again, taking the phones and saying, hey, we don't need those right now. Is it different? Yes. Is it a challenge? Yes. Is it a threat? No. It's just something different. Let's try new things. You go out to the restaurant, you eat the same meal every time. Why not try something else? You never know if you're going to like it, right? Or if your taste buds are changed. So we're just trying to get guys to little by little learn some of the old school, but also us learn some of the new school and find the right blend that works.
I'm really curious as well about your career path, because you played pro, you were coaching in the Mariners organization, and I think from the outside it'd be easy to say, well, I'm on the path, I'm on the right, going places, and people look, I think, at pro and going to MLB, and that's kind of the view. you pivot, you go to OSU. What? Just walk me through that decision for you and going that route.
Well, I'll share a little story. In high school, our wrestling coach, Brent Barnes, he's phenomenal. Lake Stevens High School wrestling program, has always been, is, and will be elite. Brent Barnes just retired after 30 years of coaching, high school and teaching physical education. And I remember asking him, I was like, hey, you're one of the best in the world at this, coaching wrestling. You develop the program and have all the right kind of people around. You have the right teachers, the mentality. Why don't you go coach in college or anything? He's like, this is what I love. I love being here. I love teaching this age group. I love being a part of this community. Why would I want? I'm not. So it sparked the idea of, are we chasing money? Are we chasing fame? Or what exactly are you going after? And I love Oregon State. When I was hired by the Mariners, and after I got done playing, I told my wife, no more pro ball for me. Let's make a move. But getting a call from the Mariners, where I grew up and had watched every day throughout my childhood, it just put a huge smile on my face, and I was like, I'm in. I want to be a part of this organization. I get to be around Edgar Martinez and Dan Wilson and all these other phenomenal coaches, and kind of just help bring back that pride for the Northwest, be a part of that. And I guess I told them when I took the job, I said, I will be here above and beyond any other job except for one. If I ever get the opportunity to be at Oregon State and I'm ready for that and it works, that's my dream. Mm-hmm. It wasn't about ever necessarily coaching in the big leagues. I guess I learned to be present. If I was coaching in low A, I really wanted to just be the best low A manager and take care of that group of young men and staff that I possibly could. Moving to high A and double A, it was the same thing. Instead of always necessarily worried about that, if I can be the best where I'm at right now, if I can win today, then the rest is going to take care of itself. And that's where I got to learn a lot about, during the day, manage the club. In the evenings or in the mornings, that secondary job of learning scouting, learning analytics, poking the brain of our strength coaches and our athletic trainers. So you're trying to learn the body and the mind and all that. So I felt like I was just trying to expedite my learning process. Go, learn and apply, fail and get back up. And so, of course, I'd love being a part of the Mariners and to be a part of the big leagues. But I thought being in Double A or being in A-ball was still just as valuable and important, and I still felt just as happy about being somewhere, rather than chasing. Would I be chasing fame or fortune at that point? But I realized a long time ago it wasn't about that. I want the purpose that the big man upstairs is calling me to do. So I just try to listen and say, hey, wherever you want me, I'm ready to be. And I'm obviously extremely excited that Oregon State is where he is asking me to be right now, and I hope he continues to ask me to be there for another 21, 25, 30 years. Because I don't ever see myself going anywhere else. My wife, my kids love it there. They love being around the guys, the community. But I got a lot of that. Hey, you're going from pro ball to college? Yeah. Oregon State is an extremely special place, developing young men, not just for the 3-4 years that they're there, but you get to build relationships with them before that. And then the cool part that's coming up is, now having been there for 4 years, you get to go to a couple weddings this next month of some guys that used to play here at Oregon State that I got to coach. And so that's the long-term relationships that you get to build. And guys are going to go on and play professional baseball. Guys are going to go on and have various other careers and families. And I think that's the special part, as opposed to just saying, where's the next job that's going to pay more? Or where's the one that's going to get more recognition? I think putting all those material things aside and saying, where's the right place that God wants me to be? Where's the best place for our family to be? And where can we impact others? That's the daily goal. And what we've been talking about a lot up here is, it's game day. Let's win today. Mm-hmm. Right? We'll take care of tomorrow. But if we do our best today, whatever tasks that come up. We need to clean the field, let's clean the field. We need to run more picks and rundowns. We need to get up and lift early at a different time. Great. We need to go to bed at a decent hour. Let's practice doing that. So it's been a phenomenal journey, and I look forward to more of the journey that today brings.
Just a few more questions for you, because don't want your stomach growling here too much. But just a couple scouting reports. One on Micah McDowell, both as men and as ball players. What have you seen from Micah in your time with him?
Well, it's been so cool being up here, and then it being in the weight room, and you see their Hall of Fame for the 60-yard, the 20-yard, the T-drill, the 5-10-5, and you see Micah's name up there in the Hall of Fame. So just kind of sitting back, reflecting a little bit, like, man, this is where he trained. And so not just that, but for each of our guys, they all have their own story and where they came from. And so I bet there's like just a ton of emotion going through him being up here again. And he could sit back and reflect and go, man, I worked my butt off up here. Cold winters, beautiful summers, being around the guys, sitting in that weight room training and being around a great staff. Going a long way from home, right? From Nova Scotia out here and going to school and training. There's just so many cool experiences. And I remember freshman, sophomore year didn't go the way he planned. Had an injury in there as well and trying to come back from that. But I remember that transition of him going from just kind of passive and unsure to I'm a bad man. Here we go. And the attitude, and him being around other guys like Wade Meckler and Melton, Garrett Forrester and Bazzana, and all these guys around him. And you start to become who you surround yourself with. And it's been beautiful watching him make that transition. And last year he got in. He didn't even start the first right out the gate, right? And then he gets that opportunity for an at bat, crushes the ball. And you can see his just demeanor running across the field, and you're like, "Hey, this isn't that old guy we saw. I think this is the guy we've always been waiting to come out of his shell." And watching him just progress throughout the season, offensively, on the bases, on defense, just playing like he is the baddest dude on the field is just so fun to watch. And then that carrying into the off season and him wanting to go out and play and building strong relationships with the guys, coming out of a shell. And so, I think also not being picked up in the draft put that extra bit of fire in him to go out and go, you know what, I'm going to give it everything I got. I'm going to do it again. I'm not going to let people or the draft or anything else make me waver from what is my purpose. Go out and win. And it's just, again, that's a part of college athletics. You're watching guys grow up as human beings and as athletes, and you get to do that every day.
Speaking of the draft, one of the more highly touted prospects on your roster is Travis Bazzana. What can you tell us about him? That's
obviously a very special human being. Okay, on the field, wow, right? He can hit, he can run, he can defend, he can do it all, and his intent, his ability to compete and win is, we haven't seen many guys like that. And but also who he is as a human being and how much he cares. I mean, we're talking again another guy who is thousands of miles away from home and doesn't get to be around the family, so they're sacrificing so much, and so they're giving everything they have into this. And as I watch when guys are taking time off, he's the kind of guy that wants to go help people. If anything, he is always trying to, he's studying psychology right now because it's going to help his game and help him communicate and connect with others and help them elevate their game. So it goes much beyond the baseball stuff. That's a guy that I say myself and all others look around and go, I trust that guy to do the right thing. I trust that guy to always give his best. I trust that guy that he's going to be successful and overcome adversity. And he knows he's got some things that he's always working on. He's never satisfied. He doesn't get too high. If anything, he's just trying to maintain that consistency with all aspects of life right now. But he is, as I refer to, part of the 1%, and even part of the the 1% of the 1%. He's very special.
What's an anecdote or two that we wouldn't see on a scouting report about Travis? Like things that you've seen. You kind of touched on it a bit, but is there any things that come to mind? I mean, in witnessing him briefly, he just always seems to be talking about hitting or talking about some aspect of the game. So,
well, put it like last summer, I reached out to all the guys and I said, hey, we do a lot of classroom sessions in the fall. We talk about life skills. We talk about baseball stuff. I go, if anyone wants to present, please come ready for the fall, and I'll give you some time to get in the classroom. Travis came in the fall, and a guy who loves hitting, and did a hour-long presentation on induced vertical break and like building stuff with a slider. So a pitching presentation about how to help our guys get better and why these things are important and trackable, and how to improve them. It was amazing. And everyone's sitting back like, dude, but you're a hitter. Why does this? I'm just really interested in it. I want to study it and I want to share with it. And so he's going to do another presentation this fall, and it's actually encouraged other guys to come up and present on things that either they are passionate about or things they just don't know and want to do research on. So it's that learning that constantly goes on. He's a guy who can take a scouting report and he'll soak in all the information and it won't cloud him. Whereas other guys like, just tell me how hard he throws, or is he right-handed or left-handed? I want it that simple.
Yeah.
But very intellectual, and if he's playing second base, he's locked in on the pitcher because he wants that guy to be successful, and he's going to be the guy to go help him out, not just necessarily put on blinders and do his thing. His thing is leading and being a part of all of it.
Last question for you. We asked this for most of the guests who come on our podcast. What does the game of baseball mean to you?
Well, I was a wrestler, a football player, and I did baseball sometimes growing up. And I just being around the game, and also on the coaching side more. I enjoy it probably more as a coach than I did as a player, because you don't have stats. You just focused on other people. It's the everything, the holistic piece that you get to spend time. The when the ball falls or when you strike out, which you will, and the ball will fall, and adversity will come, things that are out of your control, a call that you maybe disagree with, a fan, the weather, and it's just how you handle all those things. So it's just such a strong parallel with the rest of life. But you get to play baseball, you get to run around, you get to be active, no different than us coaches that we're older and older and older now, and I turn 39 next month, but yeah, do I want to get out and swing the bat? Sure I do, not just the fungo, but I want to take BP from time to time, or take ground balls with the guys, or fly balls, or play catch, just simple things like that. So it just reminds you a bit just how cool it is to get to do what we do. And then the other element, when you put on that jersey and those kids are coming out to the game, that jersey is a cape. It's your superhero costume, and how you can influence and change other people's days. And so we train so hard, and not necessarily just for us, but the reality is you're transforming other people's lives. As a Mariner fan or as a Seahawk fan, look at all those years when the Seahawks win the Super Bowl. What did that do for the rest of the Northwest? Suicide rate went down, right? Joy, just people talking at Monday morning, at the office. How about that game last night? That was amazing. And it fuels you through the week, and then you get excited for the next game. So it's like sport brings joy. Sport brings a ton of emotion and togetherness. What better than take your family to a ballpark and watch a game and grab a bag of popcorn and some hot dogs and a soda and sit there and cheer and just feel that emotion with them as well. But that's community. Putting your phone down and getting to communicate with people, and that's the beauty of baseball. No one gets to take their phone on the baseball field when we're playing, right?
Yeah.
So they have to learn their body language and how to like be verbal with one another. It's awesome.
Next up is one of the star attractions from the Beavers, and that is Travis Bazzana. The Australian hit .374 with 11 home runs, 55 RBI, and 36 stolen bases this spring before tearing it up in the Cape Cod League with the Falmouth Commodores, taking home the 2023 Pat Sorrenti MVP Award. He's considered one of the best young prospects heading into the 2024 MLB draft, and Bazzana has his eyes set on being chosen number 1.
Travis, just tell me what your initial thoughts on coming to Okotoks and Southern Alberta.
I love it. I feel like Canada has some similarities to Australia. It's definitely different here in Alberta than where I'm from in Sydney, but I feel like the people and some of the quality of food I've had, and it's all a little bit similar to Australia. So it's a nice change, and I always enjoy traveling, so it's been great.
You room with Micah, so did he give you a scouting report on the area and the facilities and everything?
Yeah, Micah had high praise, and he's kind of been he's been the tour guide a little bit, so it's been great. Micah and I have a great relationship, and he's told me a lot about the area, so I've been enjoying seeing it all firsthand.
Tell me about your approach to this season and what your goals for this year.
Yeah. Just trying to build a foundation right now with these guys. I'm going to my junior year, so I feel like I have a place to play a role in leadership and really build the relationships and help the guys go out there and perform their best as a team to go win a national championship. So winning a national championship is what I came to Oregon State for, and I've been short with the guys the last 2 years, so just really trying to find ways to build a strong, healthy foundation physically and mentally with this team, and go out and do it in the spring.
Do you pay attention to you're a highly touted prospect? Do you pay attention to all the draft chatter, the lists, all that? Tell me about that.
No doubt, I do pay attention to that. I think I've always been hyper competitive and wanted to know where I sit and been self-aware myself, but also I've always wanted feedback, and I've always wanted to be criticized. I kind of feel like I'm fueled with those things, and seeing names above me, behind me, all that, I just use it as motivation and roll with it. So I enjoy seeing those things, and I think I'm good at taking feedback, whether it's positive or negative. So I look into it, but I still control what I can control and don't really let it affect too much.
Is the goal to be first overall? Does that motivate you and drive you?
No doubt. I think right now, I'm trying to go as high as I possibly can, and really the way I'm going to do that is just control my outcomes on the field and just be process driven and keep improving every single day. So I don't know. I don't think there's been a second baseman go first overall in a really long time, and I'd love to break that barrier, but I'd have to hit the house down. So just continuing to get better and know that there's a long way to go in this game, and even if I'm getting touted in the first 3-5 picks right now, I've got a long way to go to where I want to be. So just continuing to improve.
Talk to me about being Australian and your role within being an Australian ball player. And
yeah.
You have a chance to make some history on that front as well. What does that mean to you for your home country?
That means everything to me. I had role models growing up that were in the big leagues, position players from Australia, and I just looked up to them and always wanted to be like them. And then I guess in the last 10 years or so, there hasn't been many position players out of Australia playing in the big leagues, and it's been a tough go for Baseball Australia. They've got some great people at the top and trying to grow the game in Australia, but it's just been hard with all different types of things, fundings, baseball not being in the Olympics, us not having much MLB success. It makes things tougher. So I think I've got a place now where I can really pursue my goals individually, and then that can help out me giving back to Australia and hopefully bringing growth and funding and resources to the game back home.
I haven't been around you much, but when I am, I see you talking about hitting a lot, talking about stances.
Yeah.
Just tell me about that art of hitting and how invested you are as a student in that aspect of the game.
Yeah, I think I'm a student in everything I do in life, and I'm just obsessed with hitting, and I have been for a long time. I think that I understood the importance of going out there and having success offensively from a super young age, and I've always wanted to be great at baseball, so I just have dove in day after day for years on end. Since I was 9 years old, I've been researching hitting early in the mornings, after school, whatever. And so I just love the conversations with the guys, and I want to be able to share the knowledge I have and also bounce back information from guys and learn myself. Hitting's it's a very interesting thing. Like, everyone's got a different swing, everyone's bodies move different, and so just learning more and more about that and how I can be the best teammate I can in terms of conversation with hitting is interesting, and I love it.
How about the base stealing side of things? You're a fast player, so that's another aspect of your game. How much have you studied that and looked to improve on that as well?
Yeah, I've always had some wheels, and I trained really hard to get faster in high school, but I felt like I never stole bases how I could, and I always wondered. My first 1 to 3 steps was always felt slow to me. It didn't feel right, and I get thrown out by, like, I shouldn't be getting thrown out when I'm fast like that, so I really wanted to take that next step, and I had a coach. Her name's Rachel Bolkowitz. She was the hitting coach for me in Sydney in 2019 or 2020, I think. And she was working with the Yankees at the time. She still is working with the Yankees. And their base running coach is a guy named Matt Tallarico, who used to work at, I believe, Wright State, and they used to steal the most bases in the D1 baseball every year, really, when he was the coach there. And he wrote a book on base running, and I was talking to her about base running, and she, lovely person, recommended me that book, and I then read into that book and did a lot of research into base running, watched a lot of film, and figured out kind of the guys that were making the most of their speed in the minors and in the majors. And yeah, I guess I had a little phase where I really dove into that, and then I got better at it, but I didn't always have the confidence to go trust it. And so, I had a conversation with the guy who was leading the Pac-12 in stolen bases last season in the spring. His name was Rodney Green from Cal Berkeley, and he just told me, like, hey, like, I'm just running a lot, I'm trusting it, I've got confidence, there's some things I'm looking for, and I kind of took note of that, and that night I stole 5 bags in the game, and from there I just went, and it was just a confidence thing. So a lot of this game's mental, and I had the skill to do it. I just had to find the right cues in my head when I was out there to go out and do it.
You got an inter-squad game coming up, so I won't keep you too much longer here. Okay. What's something that we won't find in a scouting report about you that you think people should know about you?
I think that I think I make the people around me better on and off the field. I feel like I'm constantly willing to improve myself and trying to be a better person, teammate, player, day in, day out, and I think that rubs off on people. And I also I think that I'm constantly building as much knowledge as I can, whether it's on and off the field, and I can share that with guys. And my work ethic and intention and obsession with the game can be infectious and help the guys around me. So I think that I've showed myself since a young age that I can continue to get better, and I'm not really setting limits on myself. And so personally, I think I can go really far in the game, and I believe that I've got a sort of innate ability to find a way to get better. I don't know.
Last question for you. We ask this of most of the guests who come on our podcast. What does the game of baseball mean to you?
Everything. I think that it really, my day-to-day thoughts and actions revolve around my dreams and goals and the people that I've came to be with in this game. So I credit a lot to the opportunities that the games gave me, and I think a lot of my goals and the future vision for myself is based around giving back and in this game, and it all comes through the relationships and people that are here with me. So I think just life lessons, constant life lessons, and learning how to just be a better person on and off the field. And I have a great staff here and just great people all throughout my career that have showed me the meaning of the game behind just in the lines. So I think it means a lot to me, and I hope that I can just continue to be a part of this game and go out and give it my best every day.
One of Bazzana's teammates at Oregon State, who was already familiar with Okotoks, was outfielder Canon Reeder. The Bend, Oregon product played in 16 games for the WCBL Dawgs this summer, hitting .317 with a homer, 12 RBI, and 10 stolen bases. He was happy to be back in town, and he was also a bit of a tour guide.
Canon, welcome back to Okotoks. Tell me just a little bit about your experience here this summer playing for the Dawgs.
For sure, yeah. Well, it's definitely good to be back. It feels like I kind of never left, I was here just a couple of weeks ago, but I mean, yeah, I had only good things to say about my time with the Dawgs. I had so much fun. The team's awesome. The coaches are amazing. Just playing baseball every day, it's so nice just to do my thing out there, So yeah. I was stoked.
How did you end up playing for Okotoks? What was we know some of the connections between OSU and Okotoks, but just run us through your recruitment there. For sure.
So we had a coaches meeting. We had individual meetings, and one of the questions that we were like, hey, where do you have any idea of where you want to play summer ball? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I would love to play somewhere in Canada, experience something different, because I kind of like experiencing different cultures and whatnot. So I had in mind Okotoks first option or like somewhere in Victoria, and they obviously made a phone call and got me on the Okotoks, and it was pretty much from there. I was gonna play here, and I was happy for it.
What was the experience like? Did you weren't here the entire season with Okotoks, but did you get enough time to experience the city and Calgary and surrounding area?
Absolutely, yeah. So actually my whole family was over here for the whole month that I was here.
Nice.
They were staying in the RV park, so they were camped out in the RV, and when we went on road trips, they would kind of adventure around. So that was nice. That was fun to have them around. But yeah, I mean, I experienced the city, teammates, and then I went over a couple times with my brothers and my family. So I tried to do as much as possible, outside of baseball. I wanted, Banff a couple times. We went over to the dinosaur museum.
Yeah.
So I really tried to do, as much as I could and see as much and take it all in,
You gotta.
Yeah.
You get the chance. Was this your first time to Canada?
It was, yeah. So the first time up here, and I'd only heard good things from my teammates. The year before me, I had a couple of teammates up here as well, and they were hyping it up. So I was so excited to experience it for myself.
Of course, you're here now for the Beavers fall training camp.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, worlds are colliding a little bit for you. Did you have a lot of teammates hitting you up? What's this place like? That kind of thing? Or did you have to give a scouting report on Siemens Stadium?
Yeah, they were definitely asking, the first option was obviously go to Micah,
Yeah,
that was their first option, of course. But I had some insights as well. Micah definitely knows a little bit more than I do, but yeah, they were all about it, and I was just, giving them the information what to do around here. So yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. You're in Oregon, born and raised. Is that correct? Or
I've lived in Oregon. I've lived in Bend for about the last 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
I grew up in the deep South, so I was born in Mississippi. Moved over to Florida, and then made the move to Oregon when I was in high school. Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of where it comes from. I want to experience as much as I can. I love traveling. I love just taking it all in.
Yeah, and how did things go last season? How was your season?
It was great. It was great freshman year. Got some at-bats, got some playing time, learned a lot. Now I'm looking forward to stepping it up a notch, heading into my sophomore year. Yeah. And, I'm excited for it.
Give us a scouting report on you, the player. Obviously, any fans who come down to Siemens Stadium to watch this camp, they may not be familiar with OSU or you, and just give us the scouting report on you.
Well, so I'm a center fielder, mainly center fielder, so I got a little bit of speed to me. Mostly contact, but I got a little thump to me as well. So my run game's, my strongest suit for sure. Bag stealer, chasing balls down in the outfield, and just being aggressive in the box, don't like to punch out a lot. So yeah, I mean, it just contact speed guy for me, and that's what I live up to, and that's what I love to do.
Nice. Any goals or mental approach you're taking entering this coming season?
Yeah, I definitely want to, get more physical. That's been a big thing. I've gained quite a bit of weight to me the last month or two. So just getting bigger, getting stronger, getting faster. Just upping my game as much as I can is my main goal.
Nice. Did you end up getting a ring from this year?
I will get a ring. It's on the way. I put my size in, and then Petey is around Corvallis, so he'll contact me when it comes in, and he'll hook me up with a ring. Yes, sir.
Nice. And can Dawgs fans expect to see you again this summer? Or are you still gonna?
It's all up in the air. Well, it's definitely up in the air. I don't have anything locked down quite yet. And, summer just ended, so I'll kind of take all my options as they come and go from there. See what happens. But I would love to come back. But I would also love to experience something new, as I should, take it all in. But yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes.
Last question for you. We asked this to most of the people who come on the podcast. What does the game of baseball mean to you?
Man, it means everything. Everything. Ever since I was little, this has been my whole life. So just the game of baseball is all I can think. It's all I can think about. It's all I do. Yeah, it's everything to me. Awesome. It means so much. Yep.
Another Beaver with Okotoks connections is Dawgs Academy grad Micah McDowell. He hit .342 with 7 home runs, 47 RBI, and 15 stolen bases in 56 games for the Beavers this spring. He was also an all-star with the Dawgs back in 2022, but decided to take this past summer off.
Micah, it's been a little while since we've chatted. Mm-hmm. Just bring us up to speed on how your summer went.
Yeah, so I took about 2-3 weeks off after the season just to kind of reflect and kind of give my body a little rest. It was the first full season I played in a long time, so the rest and recovery was really important for me, especially arm-wise. But yeah, then I came back to Okotoks leading up to the draft just to get some workouts in and be around some friends and some coaches here that have been with me the whole ride, and got a couple calls and things didn't line up as I'd like it to, but now I'm back at Oregon State for my 5th year, and we got a really good group. It's going to be exciting, and I think we'll be able to make an Omaha run this year. So,
tell me a little bit about being here for the summer and not being on that field after you won a championship, and then of course Okotoks won another title this year. But was it hard to actually be here and not get out there in the evening?
Yeah, it was definitely a little tough, especially talking to Tugboat too. I know he wanted to be out there a bunch, and it's just crazy how every year they find a way to get more and more fans to come and bring the excitement, but also just the guys that were there the year prior, not getting to play with them was a little tough, but it's also fun to watch them ball out and bring another championship back. So yeah.
Were you able to actually enjoy the experience as a fan a little bit? Were you like, oh yeah, this is actually not too bad?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was fun to sit back and just watch some other guys compete instead of being out there. But you always want to be out there and try and do something. But yeah.
Talk a little bit about I don't want to dwell too much on it, but just the draft coming and going and your experience. You touched on it a little bit, but what was that like, just nerves-wise and everything? That's a lot to take in, that whole time frame.
I mean, it's definitely a lot of nerves. I mean, the guys that go through the draft process know that you never really know where you're going to go till you get the call. So I was hearing all kinds of things, and just kind of keep a level mind, not get too high up, not get too high down. I mean, I was just grateful I was able to go out and have a great year and put myself in that position. But I got a couple calls, but being treated as a grad transfer, it's kind of tough to get the money that you want and the round that you want. So, I think the best option for me was just coming back, being able to, get my master's at Oregon State, which is huge for my future. But also, we brought in a bunch of new arms, bunch of new guys that are really going to help us this year, and there's a lot of hype around this team, which is super cool, and we're trying to bring a Omaha run back to Corvallis. So yeah.
Who did you lean on through the draft period, but also the summer, just maintaining your sanity? I assume you have some internal and self exercises for that, but who was your kind of go-to? Did you have a coach or a teammate that you were texting and calling a lot, or family?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely family, and definitely Tyler Hollick here. He's been with me since the start, so talking to him, talking about his process and what he went through, and also other guys like Jacob Melton, Wade Meckler, and even Gavin Logan, just past guys that have been through this program that went through the process not too long ago, and just asking them what they went through, what kind of calls they got and stuff like that really helped, and really helped me keep a level mind, because I know when you get too high up and you get your hopes up too much and you get that let down, it doesn't feel too good. So I'm content with it, and I'm happy to be back, and another year at Oregon State. So
I do want to look ahead to this season, but before we do that, I want to go back a little bit, because last year was just a really great year for you. You came out of the summer, you win a title with the Dawgs, and you what could best be described as a breakout year for you. Like you said, staying healthy, and you just went after it and had a great season. What clicked for you, and what worked well for you?
I think just the confidence piece, really looking at the mental side and what I need to do to be ready to go out there and just play loose to the best of my ability and not let my mind hold my abilities back. So just the confidence aspect, couple swing changes with some guys here right now, but it really, once you start to see the results and start to see that average up and a couple home runs, couple doubles, then it really allows you to play loose and play the best of your ability. So
this week here we've got the OSU fall training camp in Okotoks. It's worlds collide for you. What's it like? Is it a little bit weird having your OSU family in your dog's home?
Yeah, it's definitely a little weird. You kind of want to show off to them about how the town of Okotoks is, how the field is, and even how Calgary is, because I have a lot of pride in this program and in this community. So it's cool getting a lot of compliments from guys and being like, wow, like this is insane for a high school field and stuff like that. So it's cool just to show them baseball in Canada, because I know a lot of my American teammates haven't even been outside of the country. So yeah, super cool and a lot of pride in it.
On the flip side, they're going to open up the stadium for some of the inter-squad games and games against the academy. Maybe give us a scouting report on OSU and what this team brings to an audience that might be unfamiliar with it.
I think we filled a couple holes from last year at shortstop and third base that are going to bring a lot of excitement. We have a shortstop transfer from Washington State, Elijah Hamline, and he's unreal, swings it really well. And you also get to watch a first-rounder second baseman that could be a potential top 5 pick in this upcoming draft from Australia, my boy Travis. So yeah, it's gonna, 1 through 9 and even beyond that, it's a really deep team with the bat, and defensively we got a lot of speed, and we also brought in quite a few arms that can run it up there in low mid 9s. So it's going to be fun to watch for the fans, but also fun to compete against your old coaches and have some fun out there.
I saw you talking with Travis around the cages. Are you good friends with him? How do you not just being a good teammate with him, but how do you pick his brain, knowing that he's likely someone who's going to be a high selection in the draft?
Yeah, for sure. You're always picking a guy's brain like that when he does it so easily at a high level. You want to just take whatever you can from that guy, but he's super personable, and he loves giving feedback and honest opinions about guys' swings and even defensively what they're doing, and even sprint speed and stuff like that. But yeah, he's been my roommate for the past 2 years now, and I think he's really pushed me to be the best to my ability, even when it comes to nutrition, diet, off-field stuff. Like he's just a guy you want around, because he brings you up and makes you a better person.
What should the baseball world know about this guy? He's not drafted yet, but that's coming. Maybe share a story or two about his character, his personality. Any interesting trivia?
Yeah. He's a freak. He's one of the most confident people that I've been around. But he calls it how it is, and he's going to be honest with you. But he also plays the game at a very high level. The bat to ball is unreal, and the swing with that is unreal. But the guy's just insane. Like he does everything right, and he's also a great person on top of that. So it's going to be special for anyone watching to see first rounder in Canada. I don't think it's happened very often.
Yeah. And getting back to your season, what's your approach to this season? Like I said, you had a phenomenal year. Everything just kind of came together for you last year. How do you? Is it a different challenge just maintaining that and keeping that going? You know, and maintaining some kind of momentum from last year.
Yeah, it's always tough. You know, maintaining your swing and your maintaining the health and stuff like that. But I think for me, it's just kind of putting on some weight, trying to hit the ball farther, trying to get the OPS up for more slug is always a big thing. Striving for 10 to 15 home runs, but also just the health side of things, keeping the arms strong, keeping the legs strong, just trying to stay as healthy as possible every day, because it is a grind when you're out here every day for twice a day for the next 10 days.
Well, given that you're trying to put on some weight, I'll try not to keep you from lunch for too much longer, but maybe just one last question for you. What do you hope is the main takeaway for your OSU teammates from leaving here, both in terms of what the Dawgs have here in Okotoks, but also, like you said, the area, Calgary, Southern Alberta, this place that has been home for you for a while? Yeah,
I hope they just, get to experience everything I've experienced in my years here, and, get to do things like go to Banff and go to downtown Calgary, experience the culture, experience the people, but also get to work out in this first-class facility as well. I mean, we got it nice in Corvallis, but this for a high school field is just unbelievable. So I hope we get quite a few fans so they can see the atmosphere that the summer team gets to experience as well. But yeah, I'd say those are the main takeaways.
Yeah, it could be one of the smaller crowds you played in front of.
Yeah,
actually,
exactly.
All right, well, thank you very much for your time, Micah, and best of luck this season.
Appreciate it.
And finally, there was a special guest with connections to both programs who stopped by during the camp. Oyon's Gavin Logan is coming off his first full professional season after being selected in the 9th round by the Arizona Diamondbacks in the 2022 MLB draft. Logan split this past season between single A and high A, hitting a combined 176 with 6 home runs and 23 RBI in 74 games.
Gavin, worlds collide here at Siemens Stadium, hey? Just tell me basically what are you doing here right now? Are you catching up with some friends, Academy side and OSU side?
Yeah, so I'm basically we just finished like a week or so ago. I came back. My brother still goes to the Academy, so hanging out with him a little bit, seeing him every day. Basically not doing much, just kind of hanging around, talking to the coaches, and then with Oregon State being here, that's kind of a plus. Get to see the old coaches and some of the guys that I played with when I was here a couple years ago now, so not many of them left. But this is pretty cool. I know they've been wanting to do this for a long time, and they wanted to do it when I was actually there, but we can never get it figured out with all the COVID stuff that happened and us getting across the border. So it's nice to finally see them up here, and I think from what I've heard, they're enjoying it. I mean, they've had some pretty long days. They're here doing 2 practices a day. They're getting up at 5:30 every morning, so it's probably been a grind for them, but I think they're enjoying it.
Were you? Did you watch the game against the Academy on Saturday? Were you?
I was not actually. Okay, I was gone. I actually had to go. I went and visited my sister, who I hadn't seen in 9 months. So I went up to Edmonton to visit her. So I actually wasn't. But both my parents were here because my brother caught. I want to say the second half of it, maybe. Okay. But yeah, I heard it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just give us a rundown on your year. I mean, the last time I think we caught up with you, you'd just been drafted. You're getting into pro ball. Yep. Now you've got a year under your belt. What's that life like?
It's definitely a lot different than the college life. I'd say it's just because I started in middle of January and then went for 3 weeks. I had 10 days off and then straight into spring training and been basically going every day since then. So it's definitely a big adjustment. I would say a lot of like the preparation from when I was younger being here and then of course at Oregon State has helped me out a lot, like mentally and physically obviously, and just how to understand like my game and how I play the game. But there's definitely some eye-opening moments, and it's just you just got to get used to it's the everyday thing, and you're not used to that. Like college, you have 4 games a week. It's still just so much different. Like 6 games a week, have an off day. You don't really have any like super down time to really dive into things like swing wise or anywhere else in your game. So you gotta take care of it just every day before the game, and that was probably the biggest thing. you got to work on stuff every day, and then you got to go play the game, and you have to separate that from, and you can't be thinking about that during the game. So it's a lot different.
How did you feel about how you played and that kind of thing, both hitting and defense-wise?
Defensively, it felt not unreal, but decent. Could have been better. Obviously, it can always be better, but I felt pretty good for most of the year. Had a few weeks in June or July where it kind of dipped a little bit, and eventually got that figured out, got the issues figured out, and kind of went back to what I was doing defensively. But offensively, very up and down. Definitely should have been a lot better, but it'll get better. So next year there's always some stuff to figure out. So yeah.
What's next for you? Do you know where you're going to be going to next, and when does that happen?
Well, right now I'm basically just hanging out, not doing a whole lot, just kind of letting the body recover from the year. Because physically it takes a pretty big toll on you, and I'm not used to it. And
did you have any injuries, or
nope,
just
that was the biggest
up?
thing. The biggest thing for the year that I took away from is I stayed healthy the whole time. I didn't miss any games because something was bothering me or anything like that. I was sick once, but that's completely unrelated to being actually injured. But that was the biggest takeaway I took away from it. But now just hanging out. I have a wedding to go to down in Oregon at the beginning of October, so I'm not doing much until then, and I'm going home in a couple days back to Oyen. So, and then after the wedding, I'll figure out what the heck I need, where I'm going to be at, and because I don't know if I'm going to be here or if I'm going to stay down there and train for the off season. So that's to be determined.
Thanks again to all of our guests for joining us this week, as well as everyone with Dawgs Academy and Oregon State for being so accommodating. A big thanks as well to our Ian Wilson for his great work in covering the story. He'll have a photo gallery and more written stories to come on our website. On a personal note, here's hoping we see more big schools from down south consider making the trek to Alberta in the years ahead, as it'd give us a chance to showcase what we have to offer. I mean, how cool would it be to see similar camps in Vauxhall, St. Albert, Medicine Hat, Lethbridge, Sylvan Lake, Fort McMurray, Spruce Grove, Brooks, Edmonton, or any other community here? A big thanks as well to all of you for downloading and listening. As always, if you like this or any other episode, drop us a rating and review, as those actions help spread the word about ADS. And a tip of the cap to our Platinum supporters for all they do for us and for baseball in Alberta. The Okotoks Dawgs and AHP Academy have been incredible teammates, helping us tell the game stories in our province. For more, head to albertadugoutstories.com/supporters. Until next time, thank you for all of your support online, on social, and on air of Alberta Dugout Stories.